In this video, I'll be counting down the top 10 most useless Pokémon in Pokémon GO. There are a plethora of Pokémon that many players would deem unimportant or completely useless. However, it is extremely difficult to formulate a definitive list of the most useless Pokémon because no matter how low the stats are or how terrible the moves are, there can still be a use for that Pokémon in some way. Ask any veteran player about Pidgey, for example, and they will tell you it is actually one of the most useful Pokémon for gaining experience through evolutions, even though it has extremely low stats. Also, technically every Pokémon is going to be useful, even if you plan to transfer it right away. That is, of course, because every Pokémon in this game will give you Stardust and Experience when caught or hatched. Still, I found that every one of the Pokémon on this list have some of the least amount of uses in terms of gameplay, and there is no viable reason to ever spend Stardust and Candy to power any of these up. So with that said, let's jump right into the list. Number 10, Unown. Let's start this list off with a controversial entry. Yes, in my opinion, Unown is one of the most useless Pokémon in Pokémon GO. I know there are plenty of players out there that will come up with some reason as to why Unown is not technically useless, and some of those reasons may not be so ridiculous. However, there really is no gameplay relevance for this Pokémon aside from being a collector's item, especially its shiny form. Unowns have extremely low stats, they don't have an evolution that can provide you experience, and they don't have a stellar moveset that would make it useful in any sort of specialty cup. They kind of just exist. Of course, Unowns have been the staple rare Pokémon for collectors. To most players, it really doesn't matter whether this Pokémon is useful or not. The real value of this Pokémon is in regards to its rarity, especially some of the alphabet letters that weren't released through events. In fact, getting the Platinum Unown medal would make you one of the top collectors in the world. Thus, even though this particular Pokémon is useless in terms of gameplay, it is still pretty relevant in its own way. Number 9, Shedinja. Now, unlike Unown, there is no real relevance behind this Pokémon. It's not a rare spawn or an exclusive to any event. In fact, whenever Shedinja is the reward to anything in Pokémon GO, like Research Breakthrough, usually it is a major disappointment. Shedinja has very laughably low defense and attack stats and a measly 1 health point, even when maxed out. Unless they make Shedinja a gimmick like how it is in the mainstream games, there really is no use for this particular Pokémon in any game mode. In fact, you can't even use it in the Go Battle League, as it is one of only 2 Pokémon that are restricted out of PvP battles. That pretty much means this Pokémon is going to sit in your collection with no way to actually use it. Number 8, Costumed Pokémon that cannot evolve. Now I'm fully aware that this next entry is not a specific Pokémon, but I'm going to bend the rules a little bit, as several Pokémon in Pokémon GO belong in this category and are in fact useless. Anytime Niantic throws us an event that is centered around an actual real-life holiday, typically they will add a plethora of various Pokémon that have some sort of costume variation. Somewhere along the way, they decided that a majority of these costume Pokémon shouldn't be able to evolve. A few of these are also completely useless as well, and are not relevant by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to the Go Battle League, raids, and gym battles. This could include starter Pokémon with hats, baby Pokémon with costumes, as well as other generic Pokémon. Because most of these Pokémon cannot evolve, there really is no point in maxing out any of them, as they will not be great for pretty much anything. The only time I could see any of these Pokémon being useful is of course the occasional special cups that Niantic will run in the Go Battle League, but outside of that, you will be hard pressed to find any use for any of these costumed Pokémon that cannot evolve or become stronger in any way. Number 7, Luvdisc. I would honestly be surprised if you can convince me that Luvdisc is useful in some way. This Pokémon is probably one of the weakest water types currently in the game, and it doesn't have an evolved form or any kind of collection value of any kind. It will typically get knocked out in a matter of seconds if it is caught defending a gym, and there is no scenario where it would be viable in the Go Battle League, even in special cups. To be completely honest, I was inspired to make this video because of Luvdisc to begin with. I was browsing through my old shinies, and I realized that this Pokemon was the first shiny that I ever caught in Pokemon GO. It's been pretty much collecting dust ever since. Thus, I couldn't make this list without including this useless Pokemon. Number 6. Dunsparce. Now, a case could be made for this Pokemon to be useful as a gym defender, if anything. However, given that there are so many better gym defenders in the game, this one Pokemon would probably be last on your list. Many players would actually consider this Pokemon a nuisance to even catch, as it has a tiny catch circle and there is no gameplay merit for having it. Most have considered this Pokemon as a one-and-done Pokédex entry and continue to ignore it whenever they see it in the wild thereafter. And you know what? I honestly can't blame them, considering just how useless this Pokemon is. No matter how much you power it up, it lacks the essentials for being useful in just about every aspect of this game. It doesn't have great stats or moves for PvP, and it's never going to be viable as a gym defender or raid attacker. You basically have a complete dud on your hands with this Pokemon. Number 5. Girafarig. Reversal is probably going to be happy that this particular Pokemon made it to this list. Girafarig, much like Dunsparce, is widely considered to be a one-and-done Pokédex entry. What's interesting about this Pokemon, as Reversal would tell you, is just how rare this Pokemon actually is because of how the game is designed. It's not a popular Pokemon by any means, nor is it relevant in any game mode. Thus, you typically will not find it as a headliner for any event or as part of any biome. Therefore, getting this Pokemon in order to fulfill that Pokédex entry might be difficult, but once you take care of it, you pretty much won't have to ever worry about catching this Pokemon again, as it has no real use in any parts of Pokemon GO. Number 4. Shuckle. This Pokemon is probably the one Pokemon on this list that has actually been used in various situations in Pokemon GO. That is because, at one point, it was actually considered a viable gym defender as it had a pretty decent type combination as well as some ridiculously high defense stats. This Pokemon also has a very small backspace combat points in spite of those high defense stats, meaning you can really throw off gym attackers by having this Pokemon as a defender, and its combat points decay is going to be incredibly slow. However, it's kind of a gimmick at the end of the day. This Pokemon lacks a decent move pool, its other stats are abysmally low, and overall it has no viability in raids or the Go Battle League. Plus on top of that, there will always be better gym defenders that have comparably high defense stats that you would be better off using to defend your gyms anyway. Thus, Shuckle is for sure one of the most useless Pokemon in this game. Number 3. Sudowoodo. Now, as much as Reversal would love to hear Girafarig be considered a useless Pokemon, Mystic 7 would hate to hear this particular Pokemon be in the same category. Sudowoodo really has no viable use in any forms of gameplay in Pokemon GO. Sure, it has decent stats and moves that could make it usable in at least the Great League, but it often gets outclassed by plenty of Pokemon currently in the game. There really is no point in spending resources to max out this particular Pokemon unless you are doing it as a meme. I often wish Niantic gave this Pokemon some love in terms of either a stats rework or a better move pool, because the potential is certainly there for this Pokemon to become a menace in the Go Battle League. But until they do that, you can consider this Pokemon as completely useless because there won't ever be a situation where you would use it over others. Number 2. Plusle and Unown. These two Pokemon are tied for the number 2 spot on this list. Out of all of the quote-unquote Pikachu cousins, Plusle and Unown don't really bring anything to the table. Both of these Pokemon don't have an interesting moveset, neither of them have good stats, and just in general, they don't really do anything useful in this game. I want to say that their relevance will depend on any new and interesting battle mechanics related to duo battling that Niantic decides to add in the future. Only then, I can see both of these Pokemon becoming very useful. It was kind of their gimmick in the mainstream games when they first introduced 2 vs 2 battling. Both Plusle and Unown would have passive traits that involve synergizing with each other, making them somewhat viable for Pokemon battles. However, because a system like this doesn't exist yet in Pokemon GO, that means there really is no reason to ever care about either of these Pokemon. Okay, so with that said, now let's finally move on to the number 1 most useless Pokemon in Pokemon GO, and this entry might be no surprise to you. Number 1, a male Combee. Now, out of all the Pokemon they released into Pokemon GO thus far, I can't think of a single one that is as useless and unnecessary as a male Combee. This Pokemon has extremely weak stats, a very uninteresting move pool, and it doesn't evolve like its female counterparts. What's worse is that it is probably among the hardest Pokemon to catch as well, since they typically come with an abysmally low catch rate and it moves around so frequently. It's also incredibly hard to ignore this Pokemon in the wild as well, considering how big this Pokemon is on the map. More often than not, you will have difficulty trying to tap on the Pokemon you actually want to catch if it is sitting underneath a Combee, thus further adding to the frustration players have towards this particular Pokemon. It is also a big point of disappointment when you do come across this Pokemon if it is male instead of female, as the female Combees do evolve into an actually useful Pokemon. However, because of the male's inability to evolve, it is utterly useless to pretty much every player of Pokemon GO. So there you have it, these were my top 10 most useless Pokemon in Pokemon GO. But of course, a list like this will always be incomplete as there are hundreds of different Pokemon currently in the game, while only a small percent of them are actually used in gameplay. That is why I would love to know your thoughts on this list in the comments section below. Is there a particular Pokemon that you consider to be useless that should have been on this list? Or is there an actual use for any of these Pokemon that I forgot to mention? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so that you stay notified on whenever I upload top 10 list videos just like this one. And I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.